Hey, you. Yeah, you. See this button right here? Press it. Subscribe to the channel. Shalom.
That's why we out here, to teach the laws, my sister, all right? This is for our people, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, the Native American Indians. We are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of, the Jews, so to speak, what people call the Jews, all right? Not Jewish, but the Jews, right? So you might say, why do we think we're the Jews? Have you ever heard of us before, the Israelites? Have you ever heard that? Okay, so what we're saying is that our people, which includes the so-called black people who came in the slave trade here to the Americas, over to Haiti, over all to the West Indies, South America, North America, which is called who? The North American Indian, the Native American Indians. You have the so-called Mexicans, who are actually the tribe of Issachar. We are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of, right? Give me Deuteronomy chapter 28, all right? Because how we do it, we find this out through the Bible. Do you go to church? You go to church? You love church? What church you go to? All right. So if you love church, that means you love the Bible, correct? All right, watch this. Come on.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So now let me give you a little backstory. So this is Moses. You heard of Moses, right? So now Moses is talking to the Israelites. God told Moses, listen, if you keep these commandments, I'm going to give you blessings. That's the beginning. Chapter 28, verses 1 through 15. He talks about the blessings, right? Then, 14. And from 15 now he's saying, if you do not keep the commandments, you're going to get curses. That's what we just read. So I'm going to read it again. Just gave you the backstory. So this is Moses now talking to all of the Israelites. Come on.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
If you do not listen to what I'm saying as God, come on.
To observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses.
All these what?
All these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Right. So all the curses that I'm about to list to you are going to come on you and overtake you, right? Watch this. Come on.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
So it says that if you do not keep the commandments of God, cursed shall you be in the city. He's talking to the people. In the cities, you're going to be cursed. We're going to give you clues. All right, come on.
And cursed shalt thou be in the field.
And cursed shalt thou be in the field. All right? So now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to jump all the way to verse 68, which is the last verse. Then I'm going to come back because I want to ask you a question. Go to verse 68. This is one of the curses that was going to come upon the Israelites if they did not keep the laws of God. Watch this.
Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Now remember, the Israelites were in Egypt. Remember, before they left with Moses. When the Israelites were in Egypt, what were they doing there? Do you remember? They were slaves in Egypt, all right? So the Israelites were slaves in Egypt underneath the Pharaoh. So the Lord said, if you do not do what I'm asking you to do, I'm going to take you into Egypt again, but this time with ships. But let's find out what the word Egypt means. Come on. You already got to get that. Come on. Watch this. So what we're doing is we're going to the book of Exodus chapter 20 to get the understanding of what the word Egypt means. All right? Come on.
Exodus chapter 20 verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Right, so the word Egypt is not just a place, but that word means the house of bondage, captivity, slavery. Right? So watch this. Come on.
Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
And the Lord shall bring you into slavery again with what?
With ships.
With ships. Now here's the question. Who went into slavery on ships? Yes. In your historical record, in your mind, who went into slavery on ships? Exactly. Right? So she said black people, right? But not only black people, right? Not only black people, but you had the so-called, who's known today as the Hispanics, the Latinos. They went from this side over into Spain, into Italy, into Europe.
Right.
Okay? And some of them went from here over into Hawaii, into the West Indies. They were taking places. All right? Read that from the top.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again.
Right. So you shall see it no more again. But now go back. Now when we bring this other scripture out to you that we read the first time, it's going to make sense to you. Watch this.
Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Verse 16, cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
My sister, what's your name? Lorraine. Are our people cursed in this city? You would say yes, right? Absolutely. No matter what city our people are in, whether it's New York City, Oakland, Frisco. Look what's going on in San Francisco. They pushed all our people out. They want the whole place. The same thing is happening here, right? They're pushing the people out. I don't care what city it is, Chicago,
right.
Miami, whatever city it is all over the world, our people, we're cursed. We have a problem there.
Right.
Right? We're on drugs. We're the criminals there. Everything is going on in these cities, right? And it also said, cursed shalt thou be in the field. When we were in slavery, what were we doing in the fields? Picking cotton, picking tobacco. You understand? This is the Lord is trying to tell them back then that if you do not do these laws, you're going to be cursed in the city and in the fields. Watch this. Come on.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
It says, cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. If you recognize, even today, when we open up establishments, how well do our businesses do? Not great. Not great. These are the curses put upon us by the Heavenly Father. Right? Because we're not keeping the laws of God. All right? Come on, what you got here?
Verse,
Yep.
verse 18.
Yep.
Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
It says, cursed shall be the fruit of thy body. What's the fruit of thy body? What is the fruit? What is your fruit that comes from your body? Your children. Because these curses are going to continue to go on and on and on if we're not keeping these laws. You understand? So, for instance, in church, do they tell you to keep the Sabbath? They do? What's the Sabbath? What day is the Sabbath? You can come up close. You can come up closer to us, sis. No problem. You come up closer. So tell me. You my sister. It's no problem. All right. So the Sabbath actually starts Friday night to Saturday night. That is the Sabbath, right? So now, if the Lord has his holy day on Friday night to Saturday night, then what's going on Sunday? Why do you go to church on a Sunday? See that? Right. The reason you go to church on Sunday is because what? Religion said to do that. That was changed during the slavery time, from way back. Right? You had the so-called white man. He changed that into a Sunday worship, the Catholic Church and all of that garbage. That's never of the Bible. Give me the one in verse 64. It talks about we're going to wood and stone. I believe that's 64. Watch this.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even to the other.
You heard that? The Lord is going to scatter us across the whole earth. Because in slavery, we went all over the planet. Our people were slaves in China. We were slaves in Russia. We were slaves in Spain, in Italy, everywhere.
France,
right?
Germany. Yep.
Huh?
France, Germany.
France, everywhere. Right? Watch this.
And there thou shalt serve other gods.
And in those places, you're going to serve other gods. So now, we in America, we're serving other gods.
Right.
The question is, and the reason I say that, right? You believe in Jesus Christ, right? We believe in Jesus Christ, right? The name of our organization is called Israel United in Christ, right? So we believe in Jesus Christ. Here's the question. What does Christ look like? Is there anything in the Bible to denote what Christ looks like?
It will. Here.
Woolly hair, I like that. Woolly hair, right? What else? You know what, sis? Go ahead, talk to us.
There you go.
Talk to us. Tell us what you know. You know it.
There it is.
Woolly hair. I see you point to your eyes, right? Red eyes, right? What else? Skin like water. You know it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Don't drop Deuteronomy. You got it ready? Yes, sir. Watch this, sis. Because this is what the whole point is. We have to bring out the truth of the Bible. That's how we're supposed to what? Remember the scriptures say, if you worship God, worship him in what? Spirit and in truth, right? So we're going to talk the truth today. Come on.
Revelation chapter 1, verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
His head and his hairs were white like wool. Meaning the hair of his head, white like wool, right? Come on.
As white as...
Wait a minute, hold on. The movies that we see about Jesus Christ, is his hair white? Is his hair woolly? Right. The answer is no on both. Come on.
As white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire. When you read in Genesis chapter 49, also Matthew 11, it talks about Christ's eyes being red with wine. Because what? He did drink wine. He was not getting drunk. But that's what it's talking about, right? Come on.
And his feet like unto fine brass.
And his feet like unto fine brass. My sister Lorraine, what color is brass? Yes, it's brown, right? Now, some people may say, well, brass, when I see a saxophone or I see a trumpet, that's like nobody's that color. But that's not really that's when it's shined up. Right. But if you ever, I played in bands, right? If you leave your sax or trumpet alone and don't ever touch it, it will be dark brown. That was the color of Christ. So how come when we see the churches, they have a white Jesus Christ on the wall? Where's that coming from? You understand me? Where's that coming from? Read on.
And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace.
As if they burned in a furnace. So not only was he dark brown, but he was very dark.
Right.
Right? So why in the churches they don't have a black Jesus Christ on the wall? Why in the Catholic Church don't they have a black Jesus Christ and they all praying to it? We see white Jesus with blue eyes, blonde hair. That's not of the Bible. So what exactly are we worshiping in those churches? See, our people, we the Israelites, we're not supposed to do that. That's why when we read, go back to Deuteronomy 28:64, it talks about when we get into slavery, we're going to serve other gods. That Jesus Christ that's in that church, that white Jesus Christ, that's another God. That is not the Jesus Christ of the Bible. Jesus Christ is real, but that Jesus Christ is not the real one. Come on.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known.
Right. Which neither you nor our fathers have known. We never knew about a white Jesus Christ. We never knew about worshiping God on a Sunday.
Right.
That's not what we were taught. Our people never did that. We got that through slavery. The white man taught us that. All right, come on.
Even wood and stone.
It says even wood and stone. Because what? With the Christians, right? When you go to church, right? Christian, you worship against Christ on the cross. That's the wood. The cross that was made out of what? Out of tree, out of wood. That's what it's talking about. And the stone, a lot of our people are Muslim, right? And they worship the Kaaba stone. Okay, and the Muslims go around it. The Lord said our people are not to do those things.
Right.
We have to come back to the Lord in spirit and in truth. Meaning the spirit means the words of the Bible. The truth, the laws and everything God said to do, we should do that. That's how we prove that we love God. Right. Not that we go to church on Sunday, right? So you say you love going to church, that's fine. You love being amongst the people, y'all are having a good time and you feel like you're really worshiping the Lord, right? Give me Romans chapter 10 and verse 2. Watch this. Because a lot of our people are spiritual people. We're always looking for God. And when we feel like we got him, we're happy about that. But listen to what the Lord said. Come on.
This is Romans chapter 10, verse 2. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge.
You heard that? The Lord said, I bear you record, Lorraine. He said, Lorraine, this is from the Lord. He said, you got a zeal for me. You have a zeal for God, but it's not according to the knowledge of the Bible. Meaning that it's being taught from what? The precepts of men, what people have put together, but not according to the Bible. Give me knowledge. Every word and every line in here is defining itself in the Bible. We can always find the definitions of what everything means in the Bible. You know how you in church, if you ask your pastor something, he's going to start to come off the top of his head with what it means. He's not really going in and showing you, but we're going to show you in this Bible. That's the difference. Come on.
Malachi chapter 2, verse 7. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge.
You heard that? The pastor, when he speaks, his lips should keep knowledge. What is the knowledge? Come on.
And they should seek the law at his mouth.
Right. They should seek, meaning the people that are under the pastor are to seek the law at the pastor's mouth. In other words, your pastor, does he tell you not to eat pork? Sis, talk to me, sis. Talk to me, Sister Lorraine. Talk to me. Here's a better question. Do you eat pork? It's fine if you tell me yes, no problem.
Sometimes.
Okay, so you eat pork. Do you eat shrimp?
Sometimes.
Right. You eat lobster. You eat seafood. Right? Okay. That's against God's laws. That's against God's laws. They don't teach that in church. They teach you that you can eat whatever you want.
Right.
But that's not according to knowledge. That's why the Lord said, you have a zeal for me, meaning that yes, I love God, but you don't love him according to actually knowing how to love him. We're going to show you what's love, and then I'm going to get you the dietary law. Give me love. Because when God talks about love, he's not talking about, oh, I'm going to hug. We can't see God. So how do we show him love? Same thing when your parents teach you something, right? When you away from your parents, they expect you to be obedient to what they taught you inside the house. Because if you don't, and they get record or report that you didn't, guess what? Punishment time. You went over to your friend's house and you messed up her house. The mother calls and say, hey, what kind of, you didn't teach Lorraine nothing? Say, send Lorraine over here now. I'm going to beat the hell out of her. Right? Watch this. Watch this.
1 John chapter 5 and verse 3. For this is the love of God.
For this is the love of God, right? So now if I'm telling you, hey, these are the lottery numbers. Now you're waiting for the lottery numbers, right? For this is the love of God. Watch.
That we keep his commandments.
That we keep his commandments. That's it. That's the love. Because once he tells us something and we keeping it, we showing that we love him, right?
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models.